Watopian Weekly.
Let's talk about Zwift.
But you always talk about Zwift. Season 3.
Welcome to Watopian Weekly, Season 3, Episode 10. I got it this time. All right, this is the podcast for Zwifters, cyclists, and everyone else. Each week, we are here to discuss all things Zwift, life, and beyond. My name is Dustin, and today... here he is, ladies and gentlemen. The captain of X-Wings. And my teammate on Vortex. A YouTube sensation, and the guy that has a new coalition kit. And he doesn't care what anybody says about it, that maybe it's too distracting and distracting from people from looking at his perfect hair while he's Zwifting. Never goes out of place, Josh. Have you noticed that? No? Okay. Josh! Josh, welcome. How are you?
I am great. Good to be here as always.
Yes, absolutely. Good to see you. And we are going to talk about that kit, man. I think
the Christmas tree coalition kit.
or like Slimer got you right in the middle. I don't know. You know, from Ghostbusters. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, here he is, the most requested guest. The man who is responsible for the most wins in all of Zwift races. The person who can finally tell us what W Prime is, or Watt Balance, or Weebles, or whatever they are. The author, the creator, the man behind the keyboard, and a legend in his own right. The sauce you can have, but the secret, she's a mine. Justin Mayfield from Sauce!
Hi.
Hey, Justin!
How's it going?
Oh, man, it is great. This is amazing, absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, my gosh. Are you a Saved by the Bell fan by chance?
Yeah, I watched Saved by the Bell.
Yeah. So that's from when Screech was selling his sauce, and they said, you know, the sauce you can have, but the secret, she's a mine.
Okay, I didn't catch the reference. I'll have to catch up. I'll have to rewatch Saved by the Bell.
Dustin loves making his intros as complicated as possible.
Yeah, that was kind of hard, but that's fun.
Screech's name was Dustin, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. It was Dustin Diamond. That's right. I know. And so, Justin, as a person that has a name that rhymes with Dustin, do you ever get called Dustin at all?
I mostly get Jason.
Jason. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I get Justin and sometimes Derek. I don't know why.
Okay.
Derek, but Jason, I could see that. Josh, what do you get called a lot of?
I don't think people mispronounce my name. It's kind of hard.
Joshua, yeah. Or do you prefer Josh or Joshua? We never even talk about that. I just call you Josh. But
and it hurts my feelings when
I'm
you do.
sorry.
No,
I
have no preference. I have no preference.
Well, YouTube sensation, that's for sure. Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, people are talking about that. Was a top comment on your YouTube channel. I don't know if you've looked at that.
Is
that it's distracting, that your new kid's distracting from your hair. I don't know what the what the deal is with that, but no. Okay, so we're gonna get into all this stuff here, and Justin, this is fantastic. Thank you so much for being here and making the time for this. This is this is just amazing. I mean, we're gonna talk about Sauce. We're gonna talk about everything. We've got tons of questions from people, and I've sent you some of them on, I think all of them ahead of time, and just so you can catch up on them, because people have been sending them to me and everything, and we've got a lot to get through. So, well, but before we do that, we should have our weekly catch-up. So, Josh, why don't you start us off with our weekly catch-up? What have you been up to? What races have you been winning?
Well, I think the biggest one is just recovery from FRR. So I did FRR tour. Legs are still completely cooked from that. Feel like I'm still recovering, but ended up with 5th in the green jersey in the AB category. So
congratulations.
Definitely really happy about that. That was definitely something that pretty proud of. Well, frankly, just completing the thing, but happy that got top 5 in something. And then otherwise just ladder racing. But yeah, we've been getting pretty trounced every race lately. So
With X-wings, oh man.
yeah, we're below C wings now.
Oh, that's touchy, a little touchy there, huh? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm salty about it.
C-wings are up. As long as you guys don't challenge us, I think we're fine. So, yeah. And we could talk about that later too there, but that's awesome, man. Congratulations on finishing FRR. That was
yeah, really happy with that. And yeah, way too much elevation. I'm convinced organizer absolutely hates any sprinters because even some of the sprinting segments were actually KOM. So
well, there's that age-old question of is a KOM really isn't it just a sprint?
Yeah. It's just a sprint to climb.
Yeah, it's just a sprint uphill. Yep. Oh my gosh. Well, that's awesome. Congratulations. And Justin, what have you been doing this week?
It's kind of the start of the off season for me. So I've been making myself sore with running and rock climbing, and started to do some Zwift racing.
Nice. And who do you like to race for? Or do you just do community races, or do you have a team that you like to race for?
Yeah, I mostly just do public lobby. I don't usually have a lot of time to do organized stuff, so I actually haven't done any of the stuff that you guys are doing. I just join whatever's coming up soon.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, we have this, Josh and I both race for this amazing team called Coalition. So if you're looking for a team, we'll happily help you out there. But that's amazing. So rock climbing. And so what is that like? Do you remember, the Mission Impossible thing when Tom Cruise is on the rock? Are you doing a free climbing, or do you have ropes and everything, or what do you do?
It definitely doesn't look like Mission Impossible when I climb. Yeah, it's just for me. I don't like to go to the gym and lift weights. So it's kind of like my alternative to lifting weights, and I just go to the indoor gyms and try and prevent injury over the winter.
That's awesome. Now, when you're climbing, I've heard this said, because I can never do it. Like, we have this climbing wall at our local pool, and all the 7-year-olds and stuff can go all the way to the top, and I get to maybe just a little bit out of the water, and then I fall in. Is it something to do with with your hands, right? You're not supposed to put your weight on your hands. You're supposed to put it on your feet or something. I don't know. That's what the little kids keep telling me that when I fall in.
Yeah, kind of the beginner mistakes are over gripping.
Yes.
And then also kind of pulling yourself into the wall instead of hanging off of your arms, if that makes sense. So a lot of times when you're nervous and you don't know the proper technique, you might be really clenching and pulling yourself in tight, when 100%. You could save a lot of energy if you just kind of hang like a monkey and let your arms slack out, then decide what your next move is, then do the move, then kind of turn it into these little sprints.
That's one of those things that definitely looks way easier than it actually is in real life.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely hard. I've done the whole rock climbing gym before, and I think the only fun I ended up having was just with the chalk, throwing it up in the air like LeBron James. But
oh yeah, like that. Oh my gosh! All right, those 7-year-olds,
super challenging though.
I'm gonna. So I don't have to have super big biceps, right, or anything like that. It's all about leg strength. All right.
I wouldn't go that far.
Oh, okay. But I mean, I know people on camera can't see, but yeah, I can almost lift 20 pounds. I only when I have to do the weigh-ins for Zwift, I can do that. But then, yeah, they're hard.
Good to go.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Oh man. Well, on this week for me, I've been doing we Sea Wings, like we alluded to earlier, have been winning. I've been riding with them for ladder, which has been fantastic. It's been really fun. However, the computer predictor on Zwift Racing app, or wherever the data is getting pulled, always has me as last. So it kind of takes the pressure off a little bit, which is fine. But I still end up actually usually proving the computer right, which is also kind of annoying. But I still need to do that, because there's like today, or this last one, we went up Ocean Cliffside Lava Loop, and we did quite
the steep climb.
Yeah, so we did the climb, and then we ended at the Dirty Suppressa. It was a custom finish. I think it was only 25K or so. So now my plan was to take a flyer up the big hill, and then take the steam out of some people's legs and everything, and hopefully make it stick, right? So, and I, no, nobody else said like, that's a bad idea. So I said, okay, I'll do that. So I put in a huge effort. I put in 8 watts per kilogram, which for me is like a lot. That's a lot. And
That is a lot.
yeah. And I could not believe it. And I was up at the top and I'm like, this is it. I'm going. And then I was just gassed. And then, I got caught by, I think Rick Keller from OTR, he got me. And OTR, shout out to OTR, by the way, because we've been racing them the last couple of rounds, and those guys are classy, and I really appreciate that. We had a dropout before, and they waited for us and everything. I mean, that's fantastic. What great people to race with, So always so much fun.
You and Sea Wings and Swagger are pretty evenly matched. Too,
yeah,
so
and
we did good races.
Those have been some excellent races, and then it ended up that my teammate Todd and I were in the back with Ron Gallo, a different guy on OTR, and anyway, it was like because we ended up getting gapped, and there's 3 groups on the road, and Craig and David went and they smashed it, and that was awesome, and they got the 1-2, and then we had to thankfully to Sauce, I was able to see. With the ladder plug-in on who was going to win and everything like that. And I was telling Todd, like, because there's 2 people in front of us. So like our 2 guys got 1-2, but then there was another group and we had to finish in front of the last OTR guy. Otherwise we would have been smoked by, I think, like maybe 2 points or something. So we had to finish in front of him. And I was like, Todd, we got to do this. This is going to be something, man. We got to do it. And so like Ron wasn't going, and this guy has a huge sprint, and so I'm like, Todd, we got to go. So we're like a K from the end, and I'm like, oh man, this is going to be bad. So I'm like, all right, I'm going. I launched my 201 watt sprint at this point, and nobody came with me. I'm like, this is it. I'm gonna do it. Then of course I was caught within like 2 seconds, and then thankfully Todd went around me and Ron and got the win. So we won by 1 point. But nice. I would not have known that. Yeah, thanks. I would not have known that if it wasn't for the Sauce plugin. Like I wouldn't, because it's so hard to do that math while you're on ladder.
Yeah, while you're wheezing.
Yes. Yeah. While you can't even think straight. So
is that Gareth's mod?
It is.
Let's see.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
The ladder mod.
Yeah.
It's very helpful.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And this is a perfect segue thing. I mean, I know we do have to talk about real quick. We'll talk about then real quick, the Jarvis Island, because I've been doing that too. The tour of Watopia and everything. I'm done with the tour of Watopia. I did it all, and it was amazing. I loved every single stage. I would go back and do all those routes again. They were really fun. But Jarvis Island is super fun. Have you guys ridden Jarvis Island yet?
I have not yet, because I
doing too much
feel
ladder.
like I've yeah. I feel like I'm a late joiner compared to you guys. So,
and what about you, Justin?
I did a community race on it, like a 10-lap thing, and I liked it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I thought it was actually pretty good for racing. It's not dull.
No.
And I'm a bigger rider, so the climbs were kind of right up my alley.
Yeah, I think that would be a really cool thing to do, like a ladder race on there, specifically a ladder race. I think that would be really fun. And excuse me. And it's I liked it. I've done just the classic loop, and then I think it was Wasted 8 was the last tour or last stage I think I did. But it's totally fun. So if you haven't done it, go out and do that and see what it was like. I still can't believe that, I mean, it's been 10 years. I was a joiner about 2017, 2018, that time around then. And or 2016, I can't remember. It was a while ago. But Jarvis Island wasn't there. And this was just crazy to think about, all the Zwift. I know we talk about this a lot, but the Zwift is amazing, and it's so much better than what our alternatives at the time were, like staring at the wall while you're riding, or staring at the clock, or watching TV. And I mean, I know I talk about this a lot, but I used to just ride rollers and just do intervals.
Stare at a wall.
Yeah, or I have a clock in my second hand, and I would just do my intervals that way, and so boring.
Agreed. It was awful.
Yeah. All right. So now let's get to what everybody wants to hear. Here we go. Justin Mayfield. Now, this is just amazing. So thank you so much for doing this, for being here. And we have a lot of questions for you. But let's first talk about, before we get into the super fine details and everything, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you came to Zwift, what your setup is, stuff like that, please?
Yeah. So I guess professionally, I'm a software developer. So before I started working on any of this, I was just working for various companies and startups doing software development. And then on the fitness side of things, I used to be a in real life bike racer, mostly on the road, in like the early 2000s, and then kind of retired from that in like 2009. And then, but have tried to stay fit since then.
Yeah.
So I started using Zwift in I think 2018, and like you said, it was a huge game changer because I hated riding inside. But
yeah,
I live in Idaho, and the winters are pretty cold, and I'm a pretty fair weather rider in my old age. So yeah, just there was no movie that was exciting enough after the 20th hour of riding indoors that winter.
Oh my gosh. I know. My max would be like 35 minutes, I think was like my record for
real. Yeah.
And it's just like, that's it. I can't do any more.
Yeah.
Nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. The first time I did Zwift, it was, I bought a really bad wheel on trainer from a friend of mine, like terrible. But I mean, instantly I was just, I did like 2 hours that night. I was like, this is a game changer. I'm never going to not use this when I'm riding indoors again.
Yeah, 100%. Oh my gosh! And now, what's your setup now? What are you riding on?
So now I have a Kicker Core.
Nice.
And I got it because it was kind of a good price point, and I wasn't sure how serious I was going to be, and it's actually been amazing. So
yeah,
I have no complaints about it. It's a good unit.
Yeah, and the virtual shifting. Do you have that enabled yet, or not yet?
No, I got traditional gears.
Yeah.
And actually, my Zwift bike is my only bike with a front derailleur, so. I do occasionally think about changing that to the virtual shifting because it does drop its chain sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Virtual shifting has been awesome.
Yeah,
Love
it's as we like to say, it's a total gear changer. Okay, yeah.
Look at this guy and his puns.
Well, it's all right. But yeah, it totally is though. Yeah, I've got a kicker bike and Josh does too. And it's after that, like riding it once, I was like, oh my gosh, the virtual shifting is where it's at. Although Josh, I don't know about you. Sometimes I feel like when I get to 12, it doesn't feel like it's as hard as it should be. Or is that just, I don't know. Is that just me?
Yeah, it's probably just it's I don't know. I changed my gear setup recently and made it a little bit more aggressive, so it's a lot better.
Can you explain that? How do you change your gear setup on it?
So you can basically set any gear profile that you want, front chain ring, sizing, and all that stuff. 13 gears, 14 gears. I think you can set like as many individual cogs as you want. Although that obviously won't match real life, but it's been pretty cool.
And on yours, Josh, you have the kicker shift, right? So on that one, I think you can go sequential, like 1 to 24 or something, or you can set it up something like that.
Yeah.
I have mine set up to replicate my same Di2 setup outside, so it's I don't know what it is, but the two same chain rings in the front and then the same cassette in the back. So I've been toying with getting a bigger chain ring in the front too, but I can't push the one.
Why did you guys move to the kicker bike?
Well, I did it because I was in the bike shop and they had one in the corner that was collecting dust, and I was like, "What's going on with that kicker bike?" And they're like, "Well, nothing. You know, it was in the middle of summer, and they needed to move it." So I'm like, "I will buy that." So so I bought it, and because I have a Wahoo Kicker 5. But and I'm letting a friend of mine borrow that right now who's getting into Zwift, and that was great. But one of the biggest things for me was the zero maintenance thing, which is incredible, because I would always, every time before the races and everything, you know, like the night before the race, I'm putting on my drip wax lube, I'm doing all this stuff, and you know, and that was really fun and everything too, and it was great because you could really feel the difference. Quotes. Well, I really like to I don't know, I went all in and bought ceramic bearings and everything for my bike and like all this stuff. So this was just my Zwift bike. Because I bought a new bike, and so this bike was the only, like what you're saying, Justin, like the bike that was just sitting on the whatever, the trainer. So like I find that stuff fun, and anyway, so I do miss that a little bit, but yeah.
It was for me, it was kind of the same. Like zero maintenance was the appeal. And I used the Zwift Hub 1 before that, and a neighbor was getting into Zwift as well. And there's nothing inherently wrong with it. I just happened to have snapped my derailleur hanger off my bike.
Too much power.
Wow.
Yeah, like pushing 200 watts and snap the derailleur hanger right off. Like weirdest thing.
Yeah, that is strange actually, but just so powerful.
Yeah. Okay.
You probably had a loose bolt or something that you didn't see or something.
I don't know, but
and then it just
so my neighbor's been using that. I've been using the kicker shift, and honestly, I've ride indoors enough even in the summer to justify that. So
yeah, me too. I ride all year round. I love Zwift. I think it's fun. I mean, obviously we started this podcast, but it's like it's just so much fun for me. Sorry, we're getting way off topic. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, so we're here to talk about Justin, not Dustin or Josh, but but we can talk. But okay, so did Sauce start as a like a Strava extension? Because I think a lot of people don't know about this Strava extension. Would you mind talking about that too, please?
Sure. Yeah. So I think in 2014, I had left the last company that I was at the time, and I was doing a bit of writing, and there were just a couple things, and Strava was kind of new to me at the time, and there were just a few things that were missing on it, and I thought, well, I can probably just add these, and I was basically just bored, and so I wrote a browser extension, a Chrome extension, and added the things that I wanted. I basically just wanted the critical power table.
Yeah.
So I wanted to see like my peak. The main feature for me is just, what's your best 5-minute power of that activity and best 10-minute. So I added that, and then I put it out on the internet, and I kind of didn't think about it for years. But it kind of just kept getting more and more users, and then I went and worked for another company or two. And then in 2019, at the end of 2019, before the pandemic, basically the company I was working at, we ran out of funding, and so I was like, I think I'm gonna take a try with my side project, and it had accumulated a few thousand users, and so I just kind of went all in on it, and then the pandemic happened at the same time, so it was kind of good timing.
Yeah,
and
very good time.
Yeah, so that was probably like 2 years before I started working on Sauce For Zwift.
Wow. And if a lot of people don't know about it, I don't think, but if you are a Sauce subscriber, that comes with it too, right? The Sauce For Zwift, or is that?
So if you do the Patreon subscription, you kind of get everything. I don't separate it.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And if you haven't looked at it, it's kind of I have mine pulled up right now. It's super cool, and you have to. There's a lot of stuff that you can delve into, and it like pulls all your data and everything from. You can have it set from like as little as 4 weeks to like forever. I think for all of your Strava stuff, and
it will pull in all your data, and then you can just view in those different time slices.
Yeah, it's super cool.
I particularly like how many pizza slices I've burned. It is kind of cool to look at.
Yeah. All right, and so now let's talk about this too. So when let's keep going with that. Like, what made you want to start making Sauce For Zwift? I mean, we had the Sauce For Strava, but then in that same vein, what inspired you to just start doing that? I guess is that
it's not a great story. I was Zwifting a lot, and I got really frustrated when I would forget to bring my Garmin downstairs. So I just wanted to see average power or just average heart rate, something. And so in order to do that, I would pair my Garmin so I could look at some real stats. But if I forgot it, then I didn't have them, and I thought, well, this is stupid. Yeah. So at the time, Zwift didn't encrypt their game data, so there were a bunch of overlay packages available.
Wow.
And so I just forked one that already existed, and you could basically just sniff the data traffic and then throw stuff on the screen. So
wow. So all this data that we see when we use Sauce is there, right? I mean,
well, it's since changed. At the time, yeah, you could just sniff the traffic off of your computer. It's
wow.
encrypted now, so I use a very different method for looking at it. But yeah, all that data is just flowing between Zwift servers and your computer.
Wow, that's incredible. And then and okay, sorry, stay in course here. Stay in the course. And then what about for I have a lot of questions too. And Josh, go ahead, jump whenever whenever you need to. So how about some of the technical data then? What do you use to program this and to run this? I mean, we won't get too far into the weeds, but yeah, and yeah, let's start with that. How do you program this? Is it just something like, yeah, go ahead.
Sure. Well, so browser extensions have to be JavaScript.
Mm-hmm.
So I basically have a library of kind of analysis tools that are written in JavaScript already.
Okay.
And so I wanted to be able to reuse that. So it's the Sauce for Zwift actually they share a lot of the same code. Okay. And so it's written in JavaScript as well. And then the visual stuff uses Electron.
Okay.
Which is basically like it's kind of like a web browser, but it's bundled as an application. So when you install Sauce, you're basically installing a standalone web browser that just does this one thing.
Wow. And then the each thing is a window. Each data field is a window, and you can move it around all how you like. And again, a perfect example of this is if you watch any of Josh's streams. When you're not too distracted by his kit, you can also look at all the great graphics and HUDs and everything that are on there. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. If you haven't seen this, definitely check it out. So then what about a lot of people say to us, and I know I tried myself just to, and I know you and I had talked about it, or some other people had talked about it on the Discord server. By the way, you should get on the Discord server for Sauce if you have any questions about Sauce. They are amazing. So many people help you out with that too if you have anything. But any questions, that is. But a lot of people wish that they could run this on a Raspberry Pi or a tablet, but the reason is because of the processor architecture, correct? Like,
yeah. Well, yeah. You probably remember better than I do. So we played around with doing an ARM build. That's what Raspberry Pi's CPU architecture is. I think I tried to run it on a Raspberry Pi 4, and I think it was really, really slow.
Oh man, yeah.
I like unusably slow.
Yeah, I had it on a 3, and it was
okay.
It didn't.
Yeah.
Basically.
So I just don't think there's enough oomph there to pull that off on a Raspberry Pi. Although surprisingly, like a phone or a tablet has significantly more processing power, but then you have to deal with the mobile operating systems. And so the fact that I'm using Electron, which is a browser, that basically makes that a no-fly zone for mobile operating systems.
Yeah, and again, we don't want to get into too much of the weeds here, but yeah, it's the processors that are on the different devices and everything too. So, and this comes in just 64-bit, right? So 64-bit processor. If you have an old 32-bit thing, it might not work. So, yeah.
Well, I could target 32-bit compiles, but I don't think that changes the landscape in terms of the support matrix.
Yeah, and I think most people now have a Windows 10 machine or a Mac with 64-bit or whatever. So yeah, or a Linux machine, which is pretty cool. So I do appreciate that as a Linux user myself. I do appreciate the Linux distros. So thank you for that. I'm using a Windows machine right now, but I have a Linux box that I like to use too. So I appreciate that. So thanks for all the Linux users out there. Okay, so we'll push that stuff aside. So. And a lot of people use this as an overlay on their main Zwift machine. But there are some perfectly other great examples and ways to do this. For example, something like what I do is use it on a standalone computer. So a lot of people might be saying, I use Apple TV. You can't. How can I benefit from Sauce? Well, you can definitely put it on another computer, right? So if you had another computer. Yeah, or and do you want to talk about how you would install all that and everything too, or that might be too much maybe? But I mean, it just installs on another computer, right? So just like any application.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably not the best IT guy to explain all of the nuances of different platforms and installing software, but the way it works now, because Zwift encrypted their game data, is that Sauce is actually it's actually a game client. So it logs into the Zwift, they call it their relay network or their relay servers. So it logs in and then it just tells them, hey, I'm fan viewing this person.
Yeah.
So it works exactly the same way as when you fan view in the real game client. And then, so when you tell the relay servers, I'm fan viewing Dustin.
Yep.
Then it goes cool, and it just sends you all the relevant data for all the people that are around Dustin.
Yeah.
So that process doesn't care what computer you're running it on, where in the world you are. There's no regions or anything like that in the Zwift universe. So you could run it anywhere. You could run it on the other side of the planet.
Yeah.
And it would work the same way.
And that's the thing, like, even when you're fan viewing people, like in a race, like if I fan view another person that's an opponent, for example, Sauce will show me everything that they're doing as well too. So not that I fan view opponents or whatever, I don't have enough time for that when I'm trying but I mean, like if I'm watching an X-Wings race or something, or if I have to DS or something, I can click through and everything too, and that helps out a lot. So
this is a massive game changer for anyone who wants to up their DS game.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And Justin, do you hear a lot from people that say thank you? I'm saying thank you, but from other DSs and teams and stuff like that, do you hear from people?
Yeah. The community's really supportive, really awesome. There's not awesome stuff also, but they're mostly like really, really positive, really cool people.
Yeah,
the price to value ratio for what you get for a couple bucks a month is very good, and I highly recommend definitely anyone check it out.
Yes, I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, and we will put links to all of that in the description and everything below, and everything to this. And then how about the mods? Let's talk about the mods. So. When you first started this, did you think of this more as open source and that you wanted the community to be in on this, or did you want to keep it closed and this is it? I'm the only one that can use this, or how did you come around allowing people to do the mods?
Okay, so that's kind of two questions. So the open source thing is a bit of a story. So originally when I started working on it, it was closed source, and because I knew that if I was going to not have to get a real job, I was going to have to charge for it.
Yeah.
And at least something. And so I thought, well, I'll just close source it. There's not really any benefit to me to open sourcing it. But then Zwift did their encrypted game data, and I basically shut down all the overlay people. It wasn't just me. And so I thought, oh, well, all right, that was fun, but it's not going to happen. So I'd been working on it for a few months, so I just open sourced it in case for academic purposes. If someone wanted to look at what I was working on, then they could see it. And then I got this crazy idea that I could reverse engineer the encryption protocol, and it worked.
Wow.
and so I was like, I'm not going to unopen source it now.
Right.
So that's the background for the open sourcing, and it's turned out that that's totally fine. And occasionally that's actually been really useful when another programmer comes in and they can learn something, or occasionally make a contribution. But the mods came later, and that was really that stemmed from the fact that you get a lot of feedback from users, and some of it is really good, and bug reports to stuff that you want to try and fix as fast as possible. And then you also get a lot of requests from people who want really, really niche things, and or you just don't have time to work on them, or you're not sure how it would integrate well and service kind of a more generic user base. And so I thought, well, instead of trying to just tell people no, yes, and just being like kind of a benevolent dictator over the project, I could open it up and let people do their own modifications to it. And it was kind of inspired from, I do car sim racing as a hobby. And there's this platform called Assetto Corsa. And it has it's a really old game, but it's really, really popular still because it has this really rich mod ecosystem. And I thought, that's fantastic. Like, if I could have something that was 1% as rich as that ecosystem, that would be really beneficial for everybody. And then I was also familiar with how to do browser extensions because of the Sauce for Strava. So I sort of modeled the two, and that was where that was the genesis of mods for Sauce for Zwift. And it turned out that people really ran with it. So
Yeah,
it's definitely been way more successful than I anticipated.
That's awesome.
And do you collaborate pretty closely with your main, was it around 6 or 7 folks who kind of produce those mods?
I think a lot of us are on the Discord server every day, and I have one-on-one conversations with a few of those guys. But they're pretty self-sufficient and they're really competent. So I've been honestly amazed at what they pulled off, and it hasn't been a big time drain for me technically either. So it's been really, really nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then, because one of the questions that I got from one of my friends, Harry, he said, "How can you provide such terrific support?" And it's incredible. I mean, if you go to the go to the Discord server with any question, you will get an answer. And it could come from you, Justin. I mean, that's incredible. Like, when you get you get a little starstruck, like, oh my gosh, Justin answered my my question here. It's like or one of the other people that are on there, and you could do that 24 hours a day. It's incredible. So
yeah, I wish I could do more, and I wouldn't be able to do any of this without the Discord server. There's some people on there that are just absolutely awesome. Why Skip Do This is my hero, and everybody who's on there who's like chiming in and answering questions, because you get asked the same question quite a bit. So just having more people to kind of come in and fill in the blanks, that's really helpful.
He's always posting or pinning the latest updates for mods too.
He's amazing. Yeah.
Oh man, speaking of updates and everything, and when you install this, I'm not going to spoil it at all, but make sure you have your speakers on and everything too. So, and you have them up, because that was one of my favorite things, I think, of Sauce so far. Like when I installed it, I'm like, whoa!
I almost forgot. It's been so long since I've done a fresh run.
Oh man, yeah, you have to. I'm not going to spoil it at all for anybody, but it's awesome. So,
do you know about the Easter egg in naming your windows after my dog?
No.
Okay.
No.
Do we need
I'll leave it at that.
Oh man. Okay. All right. So you heard it here first. All right. So we got a couple. There's more Easter eggs. Awesome.
Yeah, you have to do a lot of searching to find out what the dog's name is.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
Probably not that much searching.
So, and then, I know we've got a lot of questions on here too, but one more thing before we get to all the other questions, because we do have to talk about what Watt Prime is and Watt Balance is and all that stuff too. And I have a question here that says, is Watt Prime the name from the Transformers? Is that just Optimus Prime's grandpa?
Sure.
Okay. For anybody familiar with Transformers at all? 1985. Come on, yeah.
I think that's what the white paper says. Actually.
What Prime? We need you here. Autobots.
We must be about the same age, Dustin.
Yeah,
you look a little younger than me, but I definitely I loved the Transformers and Saved by the Bell.
Yeah. Thanks. I'm 45. I just you can't tell.
Yeah,
I'm
46.
Okay. So right there. Yeah. So absolutely, man. Yeah, it's you can't see. I must have the HD camera on. Is it?
Yeah, very youthful face.
Oh, thank you very much for that. But yeah, oh my gosh, yeah. So Watt Prime though, from what I understand it's as like how fresh you are. I don't know. Maybe you probably know better. You want to talk about that, I guess, please?
Yeah, I'm not an expert, but it comes from a sports scientist named Dr. Skiba, I believe, and I believe it's supposed to be a measurement of the amount of like muscular fatigue that your body's gone through, and so the gist of it is that it's kind of like a battery for how much you got left in the tank. And it doesn't one thing it doesn't do well is it doesn't map fatigue over a long period. And I think some other groups have actually improved upon that with more proprietary versions. But yeah, the way it works is it looks at time spent above your threshold. So if your threshold is 300 watts and then you do 301 watts, then there's a real simple algorithm formula, and it will start decrementing this virtual battery.
Yeah.
And the battery is usually measured in kilojoules.
Yeah.
So it's just some arbitrary number. It varies from person to person. So it might be like 20 kilojoules.
Yeah.
Or 20,000 kilojoules. And then, and so if you go above your threshold, then it's draining. And then as soon as you go below your threshold, and depending on how far below or above, it will either drain or accumulate more fatigue as you go along.
Yeah, that's incredible. And seeing it go negative, it's scary. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm in the negative.
Yeah.
But
in theory, it should never go negative. If you see it go negative, that probably means that your parameters are not quite right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Need to update that CP.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So either your W prime number is too low, or your CP number is too low if you see negative value.
Okay. And the CP number, is that adjustable in Sauce? I should write
it.
It
is,
down.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need to do that. So
I've heard it described as the amount of oomph you have left.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I would say so, because it feels pretty accurate. And then like when you're riding, I mean, it's just it gets negative and I get scared and everything, but then it usually comes back.
So if it's going negative, and this is another good use case for it, it might mean that you had a fitness breakthrough.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So if you were, a month in the past, if you're never able to hit zero and you're dying in some event, you're like, man, that was the max effort, and you only there was still a 1 kilojoule remaining.
Yeah.
And then you train for a month, and then you come back and you're able to easily hit negative. Well, you had a fitness breakthrough.
Okay.
For sure.
Hey, that's good then. So I'm doing well if I'm hitting that. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Possibly.
Sit a little taller.
I found that I was going negative quite a bit, and then found that my CP was not accurate and updated that, and since then it seems far more accurate and useful. So
wow, and then does that we're just on our own to update our own CP and everything, and Josh can talk through that process, I guess, later. But or where that's at in Sauce, I can't remember. But I don't know, I'll find it later. But yeah, we don't know if everybody else's CP has been adjusted, because I think the default is 20, I think, but. Either way, it doesn't matter. It's still,
so the CP number is more like your FTP. So that's going to be
Yeah.
watts, and then the W prime number is kilojoules. And everybody's just defaults to 20,000.
Yeah.
And then the CP is just, if you don't manually set it, it's just going to be whatever the profile's FTP is set to, because they're usually pretty similar.
Yeah, and it is still a good indicator. Like when you have the table of like your nearby riders, like if you can see people who their little battery is red or green or whatever, it's really good. I use that a lot, because especially in ladder racing, I mean, like we were talking about in the pre-production meeting, like in real life, if you were racing with somebody, you would see like, oh, look, that guy's really struggling or whatever. Or he's pulling their face
wheezing.
or something. Yeah, and you could hear them wheezing, which we could hear when we're on Discord and stuff. But then this is like this is like the data like that you would need that. So I find it incredibly valuable, because then you can see like, oh yeah, they're kind of struggling. It looks like they're struggling. Let's try and pop them off the back or something, or hold on, I'm struggling. Can't you see that? But it's awesome. So yeah, thanks for that. Okay, and then what about with some of these other questions that we had? Is like have you seen the new HUDs that Zwift has put out? Those are a lot like what Sauce is making. Are they taking cues from you, or what are they doing? Do you know? Have you heard anything from Zwift about that?
I don't know. I don't know if they were inspired by Sauce for Zwift or not. Probably not. I mean, they just seem like sensible changes to make.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, these changes should have been made into the HUD a long time ago. I mean, like it's. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I'll get off my soapbox. But I love the Sauce for Zwift one, especially the route profile. Sorry, route profile. Some people are going to say route profile, but whatever. That profile is huge, man. Like and now they finally did it just with the update just this last week. So
it is. I'll say it is nice. will say I still definitely prefer the Sauce version of, route profiles and the Zen Master mod that
Yes.
I use. I definitely prefer the Sauce version one. I mean, it's a step in the right direction from Zwift that
Yeah,
they're
I agree.
kind of
Yeah.
actually doing something with visuals, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I found that so my overlay setup is I used to just cover the Zwift
Mhm.
ones, and now I actually use both. So I'll let Zwift show me their view of the world, and then I just have the Sauce widgets kind of elsewhere on my screen.
Yeah. I like I have mine set up like a what just like in sim racing. I'm sure you have something like with your boost and your RPMs and your speed or something like that. I have my gauges of my draft, my speed, and my power in that, and like a little pod on the side. So
Yeah.
yeah, I like that a lot too. But as a former, I used to do SCCA, sport club racing and all car
Nice.
racing. Yeah, so
I've done a little bit of that. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, we're gonna have to talk about that too.
It's been a long time, but I have
Yes.
done it.
Yeah, same. I sold my race car and everything, and it was a good thing. I actually sold it and then bought a trainer, which is really kind
I
of
don't mean to
funny.
sidetrack you, but what kind of car did you have?
So it was probably very slow, but super fun. It was 1997 Volvo 850, super heavy
Nice.
car, but it's what I had, and so much fun. We
Was
did
it
some.
stock?
It was mostly stock, but there were some.
So did you race like GS or?
I can't even remember anymore, but
Okay.
it was just a local club. It was just
Yeah.
all around cones and everything, not wheel
Yeah.
to wheel, but because that was too far to go to. But we had I did crash it once on the racetrack, our local racetrack, which was super fun. And I have video of that too, which was incredible.
gonna have to link that.
Oh man, I don't know. It's kind of embarrassing, I guess, but it was fun to actually because I hit we're in the infield, and I hit the infield, hit one of those big tractor tires that are there to hit stock cars to stop stock cars, and anyway, and I hit it and it moved the whole thing like I don't know, maybe a foot. And it was awesome. I mean, yeah, and I'm glad the airbags didn't go off because the airbags were still on, but I think they may have been faulty in that car. But anyway, that's
a 97 and it had airbags. Okay.
Yeah. Well, it had one airbag, I think.
Uh-huh.
But this is a Volvo, so they're built to be very, 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 very safe. And anyway, I did throttle body mods and some suspension mods and everything too. And it's super fun. It's just fun to go fast, even though you're only going like 30 or 40 miles an hour, and whipping the car around and stuff is just super fun. But anyway, okay, we can talk about that later too. And I miss it too. I have another car, but I don't know if I want to. The whole thing of like we can't have Christmas presents because Daddy needs new exhaust on the car. I don't know. That's a bit of a hard sell. So, but yeah. Anyway, okay. Sorry. All right. If my wife listens to that, she's probably gonna get mad at me. All right. So anyway, let's just keep going. All right. So the what's on the horizon for Sauce? I mean, do you have anything that you're looking forward to or looking to make, or what does the future hold, I guess?
Long term, I'd just like to make some refinements to the overlay system in terms of how windows are managed and stack is managed. I think there can be some pretty major improvements to that.
Mm-hmm.
Feature wise, I don't have anything specific. I just want to improve the stuff that's there, make segments better. It's still kind of in prototype phase, and there's with all the good mods that are out there, I feel like there's most of the work that I need to focus on is making the back end more robust. So stuff that's not very interesting to talk about, but like calculating gaps, there's some stuff that I need to improve there. Right now I look at 2 road segments, and with some of the road layouts in Zwift, I really need to be looking at 3, and you would think we'll just add 1 more, but it's unfortunately more complicated than that.
Right. Yeah.
It always is, of course.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And it is just incredible. So let's talk about how people get Sauce too. What's the quickest way for them to download and for them to get that on their computers, I guess? Just go to the website, I guess. That's probably the easiest way.
Honestly, I have not even updated my website to have Sauce for Zwift stuff indexed off of it. So you need to Google Sauce for Zwift, and then you'll get a download link. And that's mostly just been because it's difficult for me to keep up with all the support requests. So I have enough users that I'm able to pay my bills, and so if I get too many more people coming in and too many more support requests, then it will be, I'll get flooded and it will be hard for me to keep up.
Yeah.
It's just one person. And I really don't want to, I'd like to stay a sole proprietorship if possible.
Right. And they,
so Google Sauce for Zwift. And the first thing will be a download link.
Yep. And then you'll go right through that. And it's super easy to download it and everything. And remember, make sure your speakers are on, but there's a Windows, Mac, and a Linux link. And you just download them and install them. And then just follow the instructions in there too. So it really is super easy to install. And then you just start adding things. We should put up again, if you I'll link, I'm going to link one of Josh's latest races, or your YouTube channel, Josh, if that's okay. He's a YouTube sensation. So, get his on there so that you can see his overlays and like you can see examples of it. But this can be, there's many use cases for Sauce, and it's super easy to set up. And you get a lot with it as well. And the value for money, like Josh said, is way high. I think that's, and we were talking about this in the pre-production meeting. If you like a really nice pair of of bibs or something like that, this is just as good as getting a nice pair of bibs, to
for
race
a fraction of the cost.
Yeah, for a fraction of the cost. Absolutely. It's
you
totally
can buy many bibs with a Sauce For Zwift membership.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. You could, yeah. It's amazing. And so then, you install it and everything and get it on your computer and get it running and stuff. And if you have any questions, you go right to the Discord server. If you know how to do that, that's pretty easy. And, yeah, that's pretty much easy, just like that. And you don't have to worry about updating it either. Like, you don't have to go in 5 months and download a new version of it, which I really appreciate that, the auto update thing. So, and it gives you a reminder, you can update it now or you can update it later, because there's always, I don't know if anybody else is in the same situation, but where you just turn on everything, you only have 5 minutes to your race, you getting everything going, oh no, there's an update, well, do it later.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Never update on race day.
No, never. Oh my gosh.
What is your go-to, Sauce For Zwift, metric that you like most? The draft or...
Yeah, for me, it's draft.
Yeah. Been incredibly useful for as a user.
Yes.
It's draft, and then it's not a metric with the group's view. I couldn't race without that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, just knowing
I just need to know the gaps.
Yes. Yeah, because there's a difference between 5 seconds and 20 seconds. That is, one of them's bridgeable, the other one is bridgeable, but it's gonna hurt. And
there's a reason that if you watch a professional race or any race, you're gonna see guys yelling at motos to give them the time gaps if their radios aren't working. It's critically important information.
Oh man, yeah, incredible. Yeah, and there's also I do want to mention on the Zwift Insider website, Eric Schlange, he's amazing. He also has a really good write up on the Sauce For Zwift and how to install it on a different computer or something if you have Apple TV, for example. So you can just Google that. If you Google Sauce For Zwift, I think the first two things are probably going to be Sauce For Zwift, the download, and then the Zwift Insider's website, probably, I would guess. But I could do that. And then also probably when you Google it, there's probably lots of people about how Sauce is awesome, which it is. So yeah, this is amazing. So before we close anything out, Justin, do you have anything else that you'd like to talk about for Zwift? For Sauce For Zwift.
There is one more feature that's coming. It's in alpha right now. For the mods. So basically I've been working on a mods store. So
cool.
Mod developers can kind of list their mod in a store, and then instead of having to go to the Discord server to download it or to go to the Discord server to get updates and download, basically they'll just you can go to the store, you can see what's there, you can see some rankings, and then install it from there, and then it will auto update whenever the mod developer pushes an update to that store. I say store, they're all free currently, but they it's just a directory of official mods. So that's coming in alpha. I'm pretty excited about that, and I think that will be good for everybody.
Yeah, especially beginners and everything too that are getting into this, because it's once you start going down that rabbit hole, I mean, there's a lot you can go into, or you can just kind of keep it easy, So yeah, it's incredible. So that's awesome. All right, and what are you going to call it? Do you have a name for it at all, or?
It's just mods.sauce.llc. You can go there right now if you want to see it. Okay. I built a mod specifically to demonstrate how it works, and then I'm working with the mod developers right now to get them listed there if they want to.
Awesome. And then
I see the Wolfenstein 3D paint face.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh man, I got to go to that. What's the website one more time?
Mods.sauce.llc.
Oh man, yes it is. It's from Wolfenstein.
Excellent.
Awesome. Totally, man. Growing up in the 90s, this is what it was like, man. Yeah. So, all right, talking about sauce, though, I know before we forget, I have one more question on there that I have to talk about. When we talk about sauce, I am also a hot sauce person. What's your favorite go-to hot sauce, then?
That's a tough question.
And for
me, it's like pairing wine.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have a pretty big hot sauce collection. If it's a soup, then I like Dave's Insanity sauce, like the original.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of El Yucateco?
Yes. The green?
Yes. Yeah, the habanero. It's habanero,
Yes.
But it's green. That's probably my favorite like street taco sauce.
Yes.
And then of course there's the standard like Valentina's and Cholula and Tapatio and all those that I kind of mix it up depending on how I'm feeling for the meal.
I would agree 100%. Justin, you and I are like the same brain here, man, or the same tongue at least. Or well, that's kind of a weird thing to say, but but similar.
I get you.
Yeah, that's because I always thought that the sauce bottle looked like a Tapatio bottle when I first saw it. Yeah, I knew it.
Yeah, it is.
So I'm of the same thing, and then I buy Valentina by the 34-ounce bottles, and then and I go through those pretty quickly. I used to be all Tapatio, and then I got a bad bottle, and it kind of soured me from it. And I contacted the people, and they even had their hot sauce team on it and everything. It was actually really kind of funny. Like their team was on it, and like they were investigating that because it was too tangy. You know, it like had too much vinegar in it or something. And anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. They sent me a coupon for one for my troubles or something. I'm like, whatever.
I just like your description of that. The hot sauce investigation team.
Like their hot sauce investigation team.
Yeah, they put that on your LinkedIn.
Yeah, but it was awesome. All right, well, Josh, what about you? What's your hot sauce go-to?
Yeah, I'm not a picky eater, so I will eat just about anything. So I can't say that I've had anything that like stands out recently, but I do like all the ones that you guys described too. So
El Yucateca is like, I love that.
I like Justin's so option in Sauce for Zwift to do boring mode or what is it called? What is it called? Boring mode?
Yeah. If you want to not see the hot sauce bottle, you have to enable boring mode.
That's hilarious.
You can see a normal gauge, but I'm going to shame you first.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Oh man. Well, Josh, did you have any other questions that you had for Justin?
No, I think covered everything.
I mean, I know we're going to get more, and we're going to get people asking us and everything. And I would say that if you have more questions for Justin or for anybody on the team, is to get on their Discord server, and I'll make sure to put a link on this below so that you can join and ask away. This has just been incredible, Justin. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this for us. I just can't thank you enough. I mean, this is awesome.
My pleasure. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And but when we close here, we're gonna close this episode, but you and I have to talk cars here too afterwards. But
okay.
but so and Josh can listen. No, Josh, you get in on this too. But well, thank you again for doing this, and thank you everyone to listening for the podcast and giving us feedback, support, and ideas for future episodes. And if you have any questions, comments, or recipes, please join the Watopian Weekly Discord server, and our email address is below. Also, we will make sure that to include the Sauce for Zwift Discord server as well. They have lots of great help, and I don't know if you have any recipes on yours, Justin, but maybe they'll add a recipes channel. I don't know, maybe. Well,
no, we don't have that.
Oh, well then come on over to the. Well, we should be listing our favorite hot sauces at least on Sauce for Zwift. Yeah, we should definitely get that on there. Yeah. All right.
The important stuff.
Yes, ideas for future updates. Well, with that, everybody, we'll see you all in Watopia.
Thanks, Dustin.